Hello and welcome to the channel. Be sure to share, like, and comment down below. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button for daily videos on news and politics.
Breaking report. Trump administration to appeal DACA decision direct to Supreme Court. Fox News is reporting that the Justice Department is planning to appeal directly to the Supreme Court to overrule a San Francisco federal judge's ruling, voiding President Trump's sword ending the Obama administration's controversial DACA program for certain illegal aliens brought to the U.S. as children. Fox's Jay Gibson broke the news via Twitter. Breaking Department of Justice officials tell Fox News the Trump administration will appeal the DACA decision by San Francisco federal court officials. Say they actually plan to try to skip over the Ninth Circuit and seek review directly before the Supreme Court. Hashtag Fox News. An article by law professor Josh Blackman blistering the ruling being appealed, which also provides background on the case, was published by the National Review last week. The Supreme Court has reversed this judge's DACA decisions before, and it will do so again. On January 20th, 2017, the executive power peacefully transitioned from President Obama to President Trump. At least one judge in San Francisco didn't get the memo. Yesterday, Judge William Alsup ordered the Trump administration to keep its predecessor's Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals DACA program in place. This remarkable 49-page order has all the aesthetics of a judicial decision but is at heart an amateur punditry. Judge Alsup paints the picture of a divided White House, wherein the chief executive publicly favors the very program his administration has ended. Citing a presidential tweet, the court suggests the DACA's rescission was contrived to give the administration a bargaining chip to demand funding for a border wall in exchange for reviving DACA. These talking points could have been plagiarized from the MSNBC chyron. Such rhetoric in a judicial decision would have been unthinkable barely a year ago. But now it passes for the new normal. Once again, the judiciary has attempted to shackle President Trump from making his own judgments about how to exercise his own power. The Supreme Court has reversed Judge Alsup's outlandish rulings on DACA before, and it will do so again. In 2012, the Obama administration announced an executive action known as DACA. This policy deferred the deportation of the so-called Dreamers, aliens who had entered the United States as minors but were not lawfully present, and granted them work authorization and other federal benefits. 2 years later, the president once again turned to the pen and phone to create a similar deferred action policy for the parents of U.S. citizens. DACA, as this second program became known, was successfully challenged in court and never went into effect. The Obama administration, by its best lights, determined that DACA and DACA were lawful. The Trump administration reached the opposite conclusion and moved to rescind both policies. In a normal world, that decision would have been the end of the matter. But in the bizarro world we find ourselves in, a federal judge has now informed the Trump administration that it must keep DACA in effect. Judge Alsup based his decision on the fact that the executive branch offered only a pithy conclusion that the agency had exceeded its statutory and constitutional authority, which was a mistake of law. Specifically, the court ruled that the Trump administration's decision was arbitrary, capricious, an abuse of discretion, or not otherwise in accordance with law. Reading this serious charge, one would suspect that President Trump scrawled his legal defense on the back of a cocktail napkin with a Sharpie. Hardly. In October 2017, Attorney General Jeff Sessions determined that DACA was implemented without proper statutory authority and that it was an open-ended circumvention of immigration laws. Not only was this policy a violation of the Immigration and Nationality Act, but it was an unconstitutional exercise of authority by the executive branch. He reaffirmed his duty to defend the Constitution and to faithfully execute the laws passed by Congress. Sessions add, that the proper enforcement of our immigration laws is, as President Trump consistently said, critical to the national interest and the restoration of the rule of law in our country.